You're live.
Okay. Oops. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's council meeting on Monday, November the 23rd. Due to COVID-19 and recommendations by Waterloo Region Public Health to exercise physical distancing, City Hall is open for select services and by appointment only. Members of the public are invited to participate in this meeting electronically by accessing the meeting live stream video at kitchener.ca/watchnow. While in-person delegation requests are not feasible at this time, members of the public are invited to submit written comments by contacting Jeff Bunn, Deputy City Clerk, at jeff.bunn, jeff.bunn@kitchener.ca. Any written comments received prior to the meeting will be circulated to members of council, and all comments will form part of the public record. As we begin this meeting, I'd like to acknowledge that we're gathering on the traditional territory of the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. We recognize our responsibility to serve as stewards for the land and honor our original caretakers who came before us. Our community is enriched by the enduring knowledge and deep-rooted traditions of the diverse First Nations, Métis, and Inuit in Kitchener today. I'd now like to invite everyone to join in the singing of our national anthem. You may want to turn your cameras off if you're planning on standing, because otherwise it'll be an awkward view. Mr. Bunn, the national anthem, please. Okay, so it's been moved by Councillor Galloway Seelock that the minutes of the regular meeting held October the 26th and the special meetings held October the 26th and November 2nd as mailed to the mayor and councillors be accepted. All in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Councillor Singh.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, in the reports by the Committee from Finance and Corporate Services, item number 1, for the economic development item with University of Waterloo, I would have a pecuniary interest or conflict of interest as my family owns property close to that location.
Councillor Marsh. Thank you, Councillor Singh. That's noted. Councillor Marsh.
On the same item, for the same reason, I have a conflict.
Okay, and Councillor Johnson.
Yes, for the same item, for a different reason, I am also an employee of the University of Waterloo.
Okay, thank you. And I just wanted to remind everyone to file their respective paperwork with the city clerk if you haven't done so already. Thank you to the three of you, and we'll deal with that item separately when the time comes. Unless otherwise directed, I shall refer any communications as listed on the agenda. There is none. And so we'll now move into presentations. And our first presentation will be by Dan Murray, Director of Technology, Innovation and Services, and Diane Adams, Manager of Geospatial Data and Analytics, as well as Melanie Warwick, our GIS Application Specialist, to present the 2020 Best Innovation in GIS Award. Mr. Murray.
Good evening, Mayor Vrbanovic and members of council. I'm joined this evening by Diane Adams, Manager of Geospatial Data and Analytics, and Melanie Warwick, GIS Application Specialist. On behalf of Technology and Innovation Services, I'm pleased to be able to share with you, albeit virtually, an award won by Melanie Warwick at the 2020 bSpatial Virtual Conference in September 2020. Melanie's GIS solution was awarded gold for Best Innovation in GIS. The solution is a water incident reporting application that improves the efficiency of staff responding to incidents and also improves the speed at which we can get information out to our residents. I will turn the presentation over to Diane Adams to speak briefly about the winning solution.
Oh, there she is.
I can't see myself, but I'll assume that I'm there. Just some details about the award. Melanie worked with the water utility staff to redesign a paper-based system to record water main break occurrences. In the old method, the details of the break were transcribed from the paper forms into work tracking software by administrative staff when the crews returned to the office. Often hours after the water main break had occurred, it was listed on the city's website. The new mobile technology app allows field crews, as they arrive at the water main break site, to easily start collecting information to provide timely updates to the organization. Once the information is added, the break is recorded, a process pushes the break information into the work order management system, which initiates the creation of work orders and sends out information for other crews to start shutting down roads near the work site, for example. This information is automatically sent to the city's website to make information available, such as the location, addresses affected, the impact of the break, the status of the repair process, and instructions for the residents directly affected. Managers and supervisors in the office can follow the progression of the work through a dashboard. As the incident is unfolding, reports are being generated so that when the incident is over, the debriefing form has been filled out entirely for the staff based on the information gathered throughout the incident. Thank you for allowing us to present the award. The team is very proud of this. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Melanie, and for a job very well done. And Dan, thank you for sharing it with us. We know that we've got in. I guess I speak with a little bit of former bias, but I know we have a top-notch IT team here at the City of Kitchener between IT and GIS. And Melanie, this is just an example of, I know, much of the great work that you and others do. So congratulations on being recognized in this way. Did you want to say anything yourself, or? You got to unmute though if you're gonna. There we go.
I think it speaks for itself. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you and congratulations. And Dan, I understand this isn't the only award that we got. You have one more to share with us. You got to unmute yourself now, though.
Everything is new. Yes, I'm also very thrilled to share with you a second award this evening. And for this award, I'm joined by Chetan Hasarajani, Manager of Digital Infrastructure and Support, and Courtney Zinn, who took over as our Digital Kitchener Innovation Lab Director last year. Both of these two are responsible for spearheading this collaborative project. This award was given by Smart Cities Connect and US Ignite, which is the largest conference and exposition of smart city technology in North America. Their conferences bring together city leaders and intelligent systems providers technologies for energy, infrastructure, networks, data management, urban mobility, citizen engagement, and governance. It is an honor to be recognized at this level within North America. We submitted our multimodal traffic counting project that was completed in 2019 for this. This collaboration brought together a number of vendors in this solution and included the use of many new technologies for the city, including video analytics, artificial intelligence, and edge processing, and was mounted to our LED streetlight nodes. I'll now pass the presentation over to Chetan to further describe the solution that won this award.
Great. Chetan, over to you.
Thank you, Dan. I'll start by just providing a quick overview of what we did as a part of this project. The Transportation Department picked 4 intersections in the city where we installed smart cameras and small PCs on top of each street light. Then the system used AI and video analytics to count pedestrians, cyclists, and vehicles traveling in every direction and every lane on those streets. This data, which was recorded over time and analyzed real time, can help the Transportation Department analyze the usage of bike lanes that were newly installed on Belmont Avenue. This was a very innovative system pulled together by a collaborative effort of TIS, the Innovation Lab, and the Transportation Department. We also engaged other partners such as KW Hydro, partners that provided the cameras, the computers, the AI-based analytics software, and those who install the cameras safely on city streetlights. This data will help city planners complete a before-after study of separated facilities project. It also provides confidence to our residents that the city makes data-driven decisions when building bike lanes on new or existing roads, ensuring safety for everyone and meeting the needs of the city's cycling community. That's it from me now. Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks, Chetan, and Courtney. Congratulations on the work that you did and your team over at the Digital Kitchener Lab. I know yourself and the team and broader IT group are doing some awesome work, and I understand that there's an update coming up likely in December to committee or council, and we look forward to hearing about it. But on behalf of council, want to thank you and congratulate you. But there is, but before we do that, I guess allow you to move on, I do want to take this opportunity to, this is the first time, Dan, that you and the team have been at council since the pandemic started. And I think it's only appropriate to take this opportunity to thank you and the team for your leadership and guidance in the transformation as we needed to move from being physically in our various locations around the city to operating virtually. And I know, as I've said to Dan and CLT, if we had come forward and suggested this and said, hey, let's try to do this in 2 or 3 weeks, everyone would have looked at us like something had gone seriously wrong. And the reality is you and the team were able to do it almost seamlessly and keep the city running and providing services to our ratepayers during what has been a challenging 9 months. So I wanted to publicly congratulate and thank IT for the great job that all of you have done over the last 9 months in that regard. So well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Okay, moving on then, we have a few more presentations. Well, actually one more presentation this evening. And this one is by Matthew Day from Waterloo Region Community Energy. And it's regarding the Community Energy Investment Strategy Midterm Progress Report. Welcome, Matthew.
Thank you very much, Council and Mayor Urbanovic. It's terrific to be here. Is Justin Reedman on the call? I wasn't sure whether he was going to provide a quick intro or not.
Yes.
Thank you, Matthew, and good evening, Mayor Verbanovic and members of council. So Matthew Day is here to present an update on the Waterloo Region Community Energy Project. And if council recalls, back in 2018, it authorized the Community Energy Investment Strategy to move forward, as well as a funding allotment of $20,000 per year to help fund that strategy. And so this is that body of work that comes from that funding envelope. And given we're at sort of a midterm on this phase of the project, it thought it would be helpful for an update from Matthew, who's the staff member that's running the Waterloo Region Community Energy Project on behalf of the area municipalities and the utilities. So over to you, Matthew.
Thank you very much, Justin, and thank you for sitting on our governance committee. Justin has been an advocate for community energy since before most of us knew what community energy was. So we're thrilled to have you, Justin. Thank you. And thank you, Council, for having us here today and for being leaders in being a smart city and being dedicated to building a clean, connected, and equitable future. And also, if I can just take a minute to thank a few of the staff people I work with closely, especially Claire Bennett, Tim Donagani, and Carrie Musselman. They've been very supportive, professional, and proactive. So thank you very much to them. Do I have control of the slides here?
I believe you need to just tell the clerk when you want it advanced.
All right, we'll go to the next slide, please, clerk. So I'm here today to present our progress report, but also to highlight just how important community energy is to addressing our climate change issues while growing our economy. Historically, cities and energy systems have evolved alongside each other. Historically, Kitchener has transitioned from an agricultural to an industrial to a modern city with a modern electricity and natural gas grid. Cutting edge technology used to be windmills, and then it moved to steam engines, and then it moved to a grid system itself. And Kitchener Council has always been on the cutting edge of this. They've understood the value of energy and community by keeping control of its two major utilities. But our economy is on the move again, and so is our innovation. Except this time we're less interested in what we call the prime movers of energy, electricity, coal, gasoline, and that sort of thing. But our future is calling us to innovate in a clean, equitable, and efficient way. And this means using new technologies in new places in new ways, such as putting solar panels on your roof to power a car, for example. So the question we're asking ourselves is, how do we grow the economy while reducing our greenhouse gas emissions? And that's where the Community Energy Investment Strategy comes in. It's a 25-year plan passed unanimously by all councils in 2018 that asks us to act ambitiously by using the many tools available to us in Waterloo Region. Next slide, please. Grounding it all is collaboration and partnerships with our utilities, our urban and upper tier municipalities in what is proving to be a strong partnership. And considering we own 4 of our 5 utilities locally, we are well positioned to make strategic choices. And this is why our community energy plan revolves around an investment strategy instead of being housed in municipalities like it is almost everywhere else in Canada. We are able to unlock community scale benefits that might be overlooked. Next slide, please. So what do we do in particular? Several things, but chief among them, especially lately, has been taking an early leadership role on complex projects and what we call stacking the benefits. So, for example, the district energy study. You are probably familiar with this. We led the pre-feasibility study of the district energy opportunity on Kitchener's east side. District energy projects are usually evaluated as economic and energy opportunities, and they usually only gain momentum if they have around a 9% internal rate of return or so. But would we be interested in that project if it also increased greenhouse gas emissions and that 9% rate of return meant that money left our community? What if instead we looked at the project, well, would be interested in the project if it only made a 5% internal rate of return, but it reduced greenhouse gas emissions by 53%, if it protected our groundwater sources, if it reduced maintenance costs and served a strategic purpose for 2 of our assets, like Kitchener Utilities, for example. So we're not sure what the answers to these questions are, but these are community energy questions. And the city of Kitchener deserves a lot of credit, not only for helping us ask these questions and its support for the pre-feasibility study to begin with, but for taking a leadership role in answering these questions moving forward. Second, we took an early leadership role in the residential energy retrofit loan program. Typically, in reducing our greenhouse gas emissions, the residential sector has been the most difficult to engage. And if we're going to meet our GHG reduction targets, we will need to deeply retrofit around 200,000 homes. This is no small task. But fortunately, the federal government put in about $300 million to help municipalities design and implement a project like this. When that opportunity became available, we were able to act swiftly and send in what I think is a pretty novel application across Canada. Novel both in terms of its scope, because we're interested not only in energy projects, but other social benefits, but also in terms of our partnerships. We're partnering with not-for-profits, all of our local governments or our cities in the region of Waterloo, and our 5 utilities. So again, this just shows how we're able to bring together a partner and stack benefits. Final slide, please. WR Community Energy is the hub for energy planning in Waterloo Region, and it's an ambitious energy plan that is central to meeting our economic and environmental goals. Our energy plan is anchored on strong partnerships from our energy and municipal leaders, and we will continue to explore and map our energy and economic opportunities in Waterloo Region. So that's all I have planned today, but thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to presenting further progress to you down the road.
Thanks, Matthew. Great presentation and exciting initiative in terms of you know, the work that you folks have done already, and the potential in terms of where we can go, both in terms of benefiting our community, but also demonstrating some leadership amongst other communities across Ontario and across the country. Are there any questions for Matthew from members of council? Councillor Chapman.
Yeah, hi. Thank you very much for the presentation. So as a city, what ideas could you bring to us in order to, you know, reduce our greenhouse gas emissions? I mean, we've talked about district energy, and that sounds like a great project, and I think we had unanimous support for it. So what beyond that, what other things do you see we could be talking about and working on?
Several things. Thank you for the question, Councillor Chapman. I'm going to my governance committee next Friday. So some of these things Justin might not be aware of, but I mentioned just very briefly at the end, we are looking at doing proper energy mapping in Waterloo Region, which includes Kitchener, which includes not only the energy that we're generating right now, but that we can potentially generate. So if I can speculate a little bit, when we look at land value, for example, we look at proximity and all sorts of things, but I'm not sure if we properly consider the energy value of land when we develop it.
Councillor Chapman, still have the floor.
Pardon me?
Still have the floor.
Yeah, okay, so energy mapping, but aside from that, like what, you know, when we used to have bonusing opportunities with developers, you know, some things that would come forward would be green roofs or, you know, requiring, and I don't know if this was ever implemented, but requiring energy efficient appliances, that sort of thing. Like, do you look at these sorts of things at all?
Oh, absolutely. The residential projects you just mentioned, those would be accounted for in the residential energy retrofit loan program. On an industrial and new build scale, the region is taking a leadership role on including green development standards, or keeping the door open for clean development standards. So I certainly have some ideas on what that could mean locally, but that's not something that I would push myself by any means. This is something that I would do in collaboration with your planning department in Kitchener, as well as Waterloo and Cambridge.
Okay.
Mr. Reedman, you wanted to add something to that response?
Yeah, through the mayor, I can also circulate the strategy that was approved by council in 2018, which sets the guiding framework for, what the team is looking at. So that was the previous term of council, but that is guiding the work that that Matthew's leading, and along with the governance committee. So I'm happy to circulate that after this meeting.
Great.
Thanks.
Well, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Day? Not. I've got one for you, Matthew. And obviously the work that we're doing on the district energy system to check out its potential is focused sort of in the downtown on the innovation district, because that's where the greatest potential and density is right now. But this doesn't necessarily need to be limited to that kind of environment. I'm wondering if you can talk about how there may be opportunities elsewhere in the city. I particularly think either greenfield development going forward in areas like Councillor Galloway Seelock's ward primarily, or in terms of whether it's intensification projects along the LRT route, or as systems are ready to be updated in places like our industrial parks and so on.
There are certainly no shortage of opportunities here, especially with some of the projects that the City of Kitchener has underway right now. Traditional district energy systems need over, I don't know, let's say 500,000 to 1 million square feet being developed within about 5 years, and ideally those buildings should be mixed use. You have several sites that meet this criteria. The Mets, for example, would be on Cortland Avenue would be one of those projects. Before we focused our efforts on the downtown Kitchener East Side on our district energy study, we looked at 13 potential sites in Waterloo region that could benefit from district energy, and there were several of them. And that's only with existing technology. Technology is getting better all of the time, which means more projects become viable with a lower temperature, lower grade heat. For what that's worth, technology is opening up the potential for even smaller projects to benefit from district energy.
Great, thank you. Councillor Marsh, I see you have a question now.
Yeah, I remember that when we discussed district energy before, a question came up that I don't know the full answer to. Maybe Mr. Day, you can help us out. So district energy projects like this one are often provided by private sector, and I'm just wondering if you've taken note of private sector interest in this type of types of alternative energy that's more efficient and more environmentally friendly, and if we're going to be looking towards more partnerships that way.
Yeah, Calgary's district energy system just got sold to a private company last week or 2 weeks ago. I think a similar story with well, certainly Toronto has a few privately owned. Enwave is a privately owned district energy system, so it's not at all uncommon.
Okay.
We stopped short of exploring it in detail in this round, mostly because of the community energy benefits I highlighted earlier. Yeah. Kitchener is the ideal partner, and it seems that there's enough benefits to explore further. And what happens after that, it will be up to the city to decide.
Yeah, in the Calgary example, was it the public sector that initiated it and then it was sold?
I think it was a partnership, a public-private partnership.
Okay.
I'll have to get back to you on that.
That's okay. I was just curious. I think it was Councillor Gazzola who originally asked that question, so don't want to take credit for it. But anyway, thank you very much, and wonderful work. Wonderful to see these ideas continue to form.
Thank you.
Thanks. We lost you a little bit, Councillor Marsh, but I think we got the general gist of your comments, so thank you. Councillor Johnson.
Yes, thank you. And this is wonderful, and it's very exciting. It's great to see the partnerships amongst the municipalities here. I was wondering if you're working with the local academic institutions as well, who are all doing a lot of research in this area, and it'd be great if they're part of your partnership. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Oh, next week we're meeting with the clean tech sector up in Waterloo. You are invited to come. But absolutely, Justin Redden thankfully highlighted the community energy investment strategy that was passed in 2018. There's 22 recommended projects that we tackle in the next 25 years. One of those projects focuses on clean tech. And we have begun exploring developing the clean tech sector more formally in Waterloo region. So yeah, so we had initial conversations with IRAP, Catalyst, several funding organizations and incubators, and we're absolutely interested in developing that further.
Is that it, Councillor Johnson? Yep. Okay, thank you. Well, Mr. Day, it looks like that's it. So just want to thank you again for coming in and for the great work that you're doing. And we look forward for future updates in the future. I think there's lots of exciting opportunity here for our community and for the region. And we look forward to exploring how we might benefit from it.
Perfect. Thank you for having me again.
Thank you. Okay. Next up, we'll go into delegations. There aren't any pre-registered ones, but I do need to ask this question. Notice has been given for any member of the public to speak for or against the bylaw to close the public highway known as Waterloo Street, Plan 577 in the city of Kitchener, listed as items 11A and 14A. Mr. Clerk, has anyone provided you with any written comments in this regard?
No, we've heard no comments.
Okay, thank you. And then the second, Councillor Marsh, yes, on this?
Yeah, I just want to make the public aware in case they heard the word Waterloo Street and wondered what we're talking about. It's not about the Waterloo Street that's that runs parallel to Moore Avenue. It's a different street that used to be called, that is Waterloo Street, but it's not the same one. So anyway, I had to clarify that with staff.
Okay, thank you for raising that. And then under item 6B, notice has been given for any member of the public to speak for or against the bylaw to close the public highway known as Manheim Road in the city of Kitchener, listed as items 11B and 14B. And Mr. Clerk, I'll ask again, have you received any written communication on this issue in the absence of any delegations?
No, we have not.
Okay, thank you. So I will leave both these items until we get to them later in the agenda. And in the meantime, we'll move on to the committee reports. And I will turn it to Councillor Davey for the report coming out of Finance and Corporate Services Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's been moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Gazzola that the two items of Finance and Corporate Services Committee be adopted. Since we do have a later agenda, I'll just touch upon them briefly. The first item comes from our economic development strategy, an investment of $8.5 million to create a new health sciences campus in proximity to the existing School of Pharmacy, and also for the UW Velocity program, which is an entrepreneurship program. The second item is for the user fees for 2021. This is all the user fees in the city of Kitchener, everything from things that the businesses would be applying for to recreational user fees. And the effective rate that we're looking at this year is a 0% increase, which is the first time we've had a 0% increase in quite some time.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Davies. So that's been moved and seconded. I do see some hands up. I was just going to suggest Councillor Gazzola to adjust your camera, so thank you for doing that. And first in the queue is Councillor Gazzola.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say. I just want to point out, I would like to have item number 1 voted on separately, and I ask for a recorded vote.
Okay, we can certainly do that. Thank you, Councillor Gazzola. Councillor Chapman.
Yeah, I'd like to speak to item number 1 when
Yes, go ahead.
now.
Yep.
The reason I wanted to speak to it is I had to leave the committee meeting as it was being discussed. And I voted against the report at that point, and I will be voting against it again today. And I just wanted to make it clear why I'm against it. I think it's in theory and in general terms, I think it's a wonderful project, but I just don't think it's good timing. I think given COVID and the struggles that so many families are going through right now, I think that we need to be very careful on how we spend our money. And second of all, at the time of the presentation that we received, there was no commitment by the provincial government to fund this project. And as we all know, higher education and education of all sorts are the responsibility of the provincial government. So I find it irresponsible for us to take the lead on this for such a big project. So I just wanted to clarify that because I didn't have the opportunity to say that at the last meeting.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Chapman. Councillor Davey.
Yeah, thank you. Just a brief comment. I respectfully disagree with Councillor Chapman. I think 2 things. Number one, I think this is the ideal time to be making investments in entrepreneurship in our community. Many of us, remember a time when we had several, monolithic manufacturing corporations that ran the city of Kitchener that are no longer. We suffered quite a recession as a result of that. And the way to respond to situations like COVID is to make sure that people are able to start new businesses and to be creative. And in turn, that's exactly what the Velocity, UW Velocity program does. And the other portion of that speaks most directly to COVID, and that is a health sciences expansion, which is going to be very much lab space where health and innovation is going to be looked at to maybe even prevent something like COVID from happening again in the future.
Thank you, Councillor Davey. Councillor Ioannidis.
Thank you, Mayor Urbanovic. I just want to echo some of the comments that Councillor Davey made. I mean, we've heard pretty well loud and clear throughout the community, in particular dealing with small businesses, that they want the help with these lockdowns, with everything. And what are we doing? Well, we are investing in small businesses and help the University of Waterloo create this hub to create more small businesses. So if that's irresponsible, I'm every day will be irresponsible.
Thank you, Councillor Ioannidis. Councillor Schneider.
Thank you, Mayor Urbanovic. This is, for me, a continuation of the investment that we've already made in Communitech and Velocity. Our investments have leveraged other investments. It's a proven investment. It keeps growing. This is why we need this new space to partner with U of W. And as Councillor Davey said, health, innovation, all the possibilities that are happening there. It's a great fit within the innovation district with the pharmacy school, and it's different sources of funding. So we're not taking money away from helping other social issues. This is providing a new opportunity, new innovation, new jobs. So it's in my mind, a great investment.
Thanks, Councillor Schneider. Councillor Gazzola.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything more on it. I had my say on it when it was at the committee meeting. It's fine and dandy. It is an excellent project. No argument about that. And the university has done a lot of great things, but I keep going back to the fact that this is not under our direct mandate. This is we should not be providing the funding for post-secondary institutions. And I've heard over and over tonight the word investment. This is a great investment. Yeah, it is a great investment, but we're not in the business. And especially right now, we're not in the business of looking for investments. And yes, there are times in the economy, if you got lots of money, it's the time to make great investments. But that's not our business. And it is $8.5 million that we could be using in other areas. We've already given the universities in excess of $50 million. We're still paying back the debt, interest charges on that. You know, I think we've done our share for post-secondary education, and I think it's time for the. I guess I don't blame the universities. They've come hat in hand to ask us for money. As Councillor Chapman said, they should be going to the province. They come under the mandate of the province. So I voted against it the other day, and I will continue to do so. It's not that it's not a great project, but I really don't see the great assistance to our average residential, especially taxpayer, who are suffering now and having a hard time just putting food on the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gazzola. I don't see anyone else in the queue, so I'll make a few comments. I will be supporting this, and I think this is a critical investment in the community, not only for today in the midst of a pandemic global health crisis, but also for the future of our community. Council, in its wisdom, approved the Make It Kitchener 2.0 economic development strategy several weeks ago. And that strategy is built on fundamentally two main principles. One, taking initiatives in order to support our local community, and particularly our business community, through COVID-19, and partnering with other orders of government, the region, the province, and the federal government, in order to make investments and support business where we can, in order to ensure its ongoing viability post the challenges that we're presently facing. And two, to make critical investments for as we come out of COVID-19, so that in fact we're building back better and creating a community that is going to ensure we create jobs and lay the foundations which will allow us to have a strong economic recovery and allow this region to continue to lead the province and the country in terms of its economic development and growth as we were prior to the pandemic. If we think about it, you know, as a city, we have made, as Councillor Gazzola pointed out, and between ourselves and the region, we have made investments in both University of Waterloo, in Wilfrid Laurier University, and historically in the past, even with Conestoga College, when it was originally founded in our community. And all of these investments have paid significant dividends to our community, created literally thousands of jobs, and provided a healthy and vibrant economic structure in our community that allows people to have an excellent quality of life. And I think if we look at UW Velocity in 2016, we invested in the program to expand their space and support the growth of health technology startups and scale up ecosystems, and have seen that result in literally the creation of many local businesses and jobs. It expanded the ecosystem and has encouraged millions of dollars in private sector investments. This has only brought the pandemic has only brought this sector to the forefront, and it will allow us to make investments to ensure we can see this sector really lead going forward and create a world-class health innovation sector that will only benefit people who are involved in that sector, but also all of the spin-off jobs that will come from it. So I will support it proudly, and I'm pleased that Councillor Gazzola has asked for a recorded vote. So with that, a recorded vote has been called. Mr. Clerk, are you ready for that? Or Madam Clerk? I'm not sure.
I am ready, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Tarling. We'll start with Ward 1, Councillor Davey.
I'm in favor.
Ward 2, Councillor Schneider.
In favor.
3, Councillor Gazzola.
Opposed.
Ward 4, Councillor Michaud.
In favor?
Ward 5, Councillor Galloway-Sealock.
I'm in favor.
Ward 6, Councillor Singh.
The noted conflict.
Yes, thank you. Ward 7, Councillor Ioannidis.
I'm in favor.
Ward 8 was Councillor Johnson, who had a conflict as well. Ward 9, Councillor Chapman.
Opposed.
And Ward 10, Councillor Marsh had a conflict as well. So with those noted conflicts, it is carried, and it will be moving forward. Thank you, Council.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, you need to vote.
Oh, sorry, I didn't vote. Yes, I support it as well. Thank you. Thanks for that gentle reminder, Ms. Tarling. And so the balance of the report has been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. I believe Community Services was next. Yes, Councillor Galloway-Sealock.
Yes, it's been moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Dave Schneider that items 1 to 3 on the Community and Infrastructure Services Committee be approved. And just to quickly run over them, number 1 is the Kitchener Growth Management Strategy Annual Monitoring Report. Number 2 is a uniform traffic bylaw for an all-way stop at Thomas Lee and South Creek Drive. And number 3 is to direct staff to undertake engagement and consultation with stakeholders and the community in developing an urban forest canopy cover target, with a report coming back in in spring of 2021.
Okay, great. Thank you. So it has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? There being none, all those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Is there any unfinished business? I will just under unfinished business note that at the last council meeting, I believe it was Councillor Johnson and then others who raised the issue of the region's collection of COVID statistical data and the disaggregated report. That report was presented to Regional Council last week, and I forwarded the presentation to Council earlier today. That I have asked regional staff to actually come and make the presentation to our council, and we're hoping to have that in the December cycle of meetings. And in the meantime, regional staff are starting to meet with potential community partners who could help potentially address some of the statistical realities that the report has proven. You know, some of which I think many of us suspected, and I know that they have reached out to Mr. Hildebrand, who's been assigned by Mr. Chapman to follow up on that and work with the region on that. And so we'll be hearing more about that in the weeks ahead. So failing that, we'll move on to new business. And Councillor Chapman, you have a motion that you'd like to bring forward.
Yes, thank you. 8 years ago today, former City of Kitchener Councillor Harold Chapman passed away. He was a strong supporter of democracy. It's in this context that I bring this motion forward today. Regardless of whether you support ranked ballots or not, what is being proposed here is a preservation of local democracy in the sense that municipalities define the parameters of and run their own elections. So I'm not going to read all of the whereases, but I'll go directly now to the therefores. Therefore, be it resolved that the City of Kitchener urges the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing and the Government of Ontario to respect Ontario municipalities' ability to apply sound representative principles in their execution of elections. And therefore, be it further resolved that the City of Kitchener recommend that the Government of Ontario support the freedom of municipalities to run democratic elections by returning the authority for municipalities to choose if ranked ballots are appropriate for their communities, and reinstate nomination day at the end of July of an election year. So any questions, I'm happy to answer, and otherwise I hope I can count on your support.
Thank you, Councillor Chapman. I see one hand up, Councillor Marsh.
Happy to second that and happy to support. I too think that it's really important for municipalities to be able to decide what's best for them in terms of how their residents will vote.
Thank you, Councillor Marsh. Councillor Davey.
I'm just comment if that's.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I was read through this motion, and actually I think it's worded perfectly. When I first started reading it, I was a little bit concerned about the direction it was going to go, but I'm very happy with how it was written. I agree with all of Councillor Chapman's comments in terms of municipalities being able to maintain their autonomy to have this form of voting. Now, I want to be clear and on the record at this point that this is not about Kitchener having ranked balloting. I'm happy to have that discussion at some point in the future, but I just wanted to be clear that I do think that there are complications in a two-tier municipality with ranked balloting with respect to the fact it's not as simple as say the City of Toronto, where you pick your ward councillor and your mayor. Here we also have to vote. In addition to the mayor and the ward councillor, there's regional chair that you have to vote for. There's regional councillors and school boards as well, which the concern I have there could make for an extremely lengthy voting process, which could ultimately prove to discourage people from voting. So that's not what's before us today. I just wanted to be clear if this comes back at some point in the future, why did you support this but not that? I thought I'd put that context out there, but I'm only too happy to support the motion before us.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, just looking to see if there's any other comments. There are not, and I too want to thank Councillor Chapman for bringing the motion forward. I think it is important for municipalities to have the opportunity to have a say in terms of how their local democracy is run. Personally, I do think that the July date actually worked better for everybody concerned, from those running the election at a staff level to those actually running as well. But with that, there is the motion on the floor, and all those in favor. Councillor Chapman.
Yeah, I just want to thank the staff for helping to draft the motion. I can't take full credit for it by any means, so I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Can we have a recorded vote, please?
Sure, we can do that, Councillor Gazzola. I will, as there's been requested in the past, that I mix it up once in a while. So I will start with Ward 10, Councillor Marsh.
That's me. I'm in favor.
Ward 9, Councillor Chapman.
In favor.
Ward 8, Councillor Johnson.
In favor.
Ward 7, Councillor Ioannidis.
In favor.
Ward 6, Councillor Singh.
In favor.
Ward 5, Councillor Galloway-Seelock.
I'm in favor.
Ward 4, Councillor Michaud.
Favor.
Ward 3, Councillor Gazzola.
In favor.
Ward 2, Councillor Schneider.
In favor.
Ward 1, Councillor Davey.
In favor.
And the mayor's in favor as well, so that carries unanimously. Thank you, Councillor Marsh, on this. Your mic's not on, Councillor Marsh.
Sorry. I have another point of new business, if I may. Pardon?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so during the pandemic, and especially now that we're in the red zone, I know that it's important for us still to get outside and to try to enjoy the outdoors, and but also to enjoy our downtown Kitchener, which is at this point still in development with so many new pieces of architecture being put up right before our eyes. But it just so happens that we have a really beautiful art walk that is currently up, and it is stunning. Some of the art pieces. Oh, and there's Mayor Verbanovic. Can you put that even closer? Wonderful. So this art walk is something that I would encourage everyone to participate in. You can get your free copy of that guide at various places in the downtown. You can learn more at downtownkitchener.ca and at your leisure, go and explore. And the guide is also available online, so you don't have to have a hard copy if you're not going to use it. So anyway, just a little plug for the downtown, which I know, we could use, all the businesses that are open downtown could use our support.
Thanks, Councillor Marchand. I will point out that the BIA printed the first set of these, and I think there was 3,000 and ran out. And so this is actually the second printing. And so council will get a copy of this in their packages on the weekend. As Councillor Marsh indicated, it is online. So you can certainly encourage folks to use it. There are actually 59 pieces of public art through the downtown if you go, and the broader downtown if you go for a walk. So thank you, Councillor Marsh, for sharing that. It's a great way to get out and enjoy the fresh air and some exercise, and do it safely. Okay, so we will now move on to regional council update. I think the main item was the disaggregated data report that I reported back on already. The only other item that I will note is that we have, as Councillor Marsh indicated, as of 12:01 a.m. This morning, moved into the red zone. That certainly has changed a number of requirements, both for businesses and for recreational activities and others. So I think the important message for all of us, and I know it's hard, we're all tired. We're all tired of the impact that COVID has had on us, but we also are seeing the numbers continue to go up in the province and continue to be high in this region. And as hard as it is with the upcoming holiday season, when we're all used to being social, it is really important that we all stay home and stay with those in our immediate families that live within our households, unless we need to go out for work, unless we need to go out for a medical appointment, or to get groceries, pick up food, those kinds of things. So we're really urging all residents to do their part. We have to keep in mind that in particular, those working in our healthcare sector have made immense sacrifices over the past 8 months. And as I saw someone post just recently, the reality is we are now the front line. They're there to support those who may encounter COVID, but we really need to be the ones doing our part. And so I'm, by virtue of this message, imploring the public to take this seriously. There is a light at the end of the tunnel with the vaccines that have been talked about, but it means we all need to hunker down in the intervening period. And so I would ask all residents to certainly do their part in that regard in the coming weeks, as we try to get these numbers under control. we're seeing in other parts of the province or other parts of the country where, you know, even things like the Atlantic bubble that were being successful, numbers go up quite significantly there as well, and to the point that the bubble is no longer a bubble and there's no movement allowed, or very limited movement in and out of various provinces. So I will leave it at that, and thank all of our staff. I will note that today actually marks 8 months since we started the emergency, a little longer since the official shutdown started. And I do want to thank all of our staff who have worked very diligently over the last 8+ months in supporting the community and working hard to ensure that we continue to provide the services that we need to provide to our residents. And I also want to thank this council for your ongoing leadership on behalf of the community during what I know has been a challenging and trying time. And thank you for all of your efforts as we have worked with our staff team to do everything we can to make sure our community can continue to serve our residents while also dealing with the realities of the pandemic. With that, our next item is the first reading of the bylaws. Sorry, is questions and answers. Are there any questions and answers? If not, then we'll go to first reading of the bylaws, and it's been moved by Councillor Schneider and seconded by Councillor Chapman that leave be given the mover and seconder to introduce the bylaws listed on the agenda, and that the same be taken as read a first time and stand referred to committee of the whole. All in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. It's been moved by Councillor Kelly Galloway Seelock that council resolve itself into committee of the whole. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Councillor Galloway Seelock, over to you for committee of the whole.
Thank you very much, Mayor Verbanovic. Do I have a mover for the second reading of the bylaws? Moved by Councillor Davey. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. We now have 4 tenders. Can I get a mover for the tenders on the agenda? Moved by Councillor Ioannidis. Are there any questions on the tenders? Councillor Gazzola, you have a question? Can you tell us what tender it's on, please?
Yes, I have one on item number 3 and also one on 4.
Okay, go ahead with your questions on number 3.
Now, I'm just trying to understand where we're going with this. If we're trying to satisfy the targets of the federal government, have they indicated other than generalities, have they indicated what they're looking for the city of Kitchener, the Kitchener utilities to do? Do we have any indication? Why? I'm just curious why we have to hire a consultant and pay $50,000 to tell us to satisfy what the federal government wants. What have they asked for?
Ms. McGoldrick?
So through the chair, we are, so at this point, to Councillor Gazzola's point, we don't have much information yet from the federal government. We do know that the federal government is planning to introduce draft legislation and guidelines in 2021 that we need to be positioned to respond to. And so in terms of the consultant scope of work, it's to look at the information that is put out. It's to look at we are the gaseous. There's also a liquid guidance and requirements being put out. So we need to analyze that. That will be an indication of what will come in terms of the gaseous gaseous fuels, and then look to develop what those strategies are. And so this consultant, and we've had similar consulting services in the past related to cap and trade, but it's really to develop our feedback in terms of the regulatory response to the OEB and look at strategies in terms of how we can position ourselves now. Just in terms of the work that we're doing, we can start to use our strategies to position ourselves well. I believe we can start to look at actions as of 2017 to put towards any offsetting measures through the federal program. So that's the work that we want to do now to position ourselves.
Do we have any idea of what Union Gas are doing around the rest of the province? They obviously have the same problem. Why are we not working together with them? Why do we each have to go out and hire our own consultants to satisfy something that the federal government wants to do? Which is not, I don't disagree that it should be done and all that, but why should we be sort of inventing the wheel here, and the other natural gas companies in the whole country are doing the same thing? We don't seem to be getting much direction from the federal government, and we're going out and hire consultants. We don't even know what the questions are, and we're coming up with the answers.
So through the chair, in response to Councillor Gazzola's questions, there are information sharing opportunities largely through gas industry conferences and connections that are made between Enbridge and our staff. We also look to Utilities Kingston in terms of their work. So there is information sharing. But we need to look at, based on our own unique portfolio, strategies specific to the City of Kitchener, as well as responses specific to the City of Kitchener. We will need to react to the proposals put forward by Enbridge because they're also a supplier, and you know, we are a ratepayer of Enbridge, and so we need our own strategy and our own response to forward in terms of the OEB.
If I could just comment, sometimes we try to lead too much, and I think we did this a few years ago with this whole carbon tax. That we took a very strong approach in leading, and I think we ended up really costing our customers some dollars that it didn't cost the customers of some other utilities in the province. So sometimes we don't always have to be in the front row. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to be in the second row and just look forward. So, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Gazzola, did you want to ask your questions on number 4 as well?
Yeah, on number 4, I was just trying to understand. The bids were for huge amounts, and we're only our awards are for such small amounts. I wasn't sure how the two went together.
Mr. Lautenbach?
Pardon?
Sorry, I thought you were done. I was calling on Mr. Lautenbach.
Yeah. Just if I could explain on the Techvalco, the bid price was $767,000. We're awarding $86,000. On the CR Wall and Company, the bid price was $839,000, and we're only awarding $332,000. Can you just explain how this is working? That's all.
So through the chair, this tender is based on unit prices for 12 different items. So 11 of those items are being awarded based on those two companies. So where you see the award amount, it's based on the items that are identified in the recommendation. So where it lists item 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, and 9 being awarded to the one vendor, and then items 5, 6, 11, and 12. Those are all the lowest unit prices that are being awarded. Item number 10, which was a meter bar, is not being awarded under this tender. The plan is to go back out and to issue a new tender with some different specifications. The reason behind it was the meter bar that was indicated was based on information that we had that a type of meter bar was not being manufactured anymore, which is actually not the case. And so suppliers will have another chance to provide pricing related to a new specification related to that item in particular.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, that appears to be all the questions for the tenders. They've been moved by Councillor Ioannidis. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. We'll now move on to the other administrative items for the Committee of the Whole. The next one, number 2, is prohibited dog designation appeal. Does someone want to move that? Moved by Councillor Johnston. Is there any questions? Seeing none, it's been moved by Councillor Johnston. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Now we'll move on to our last item on Committee of the Whole, and that's the resolution of support for the AMO board nomination. Do I have a mover for that? Moved by Councillor Marsh. Is there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That carries.
There's 2 extra items coming out of caucus, Councillor Galloway.
Yeah, I was just going to ask if there was any late items or items coming out of caucus. Clerk?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. There are 2 items coming from caucus today. Item number 1, resolution that LGA Architectural Partners Limited's request pursuant to Council Policy ADM AGR-305 be approved for approval to bid on tenders while in litigation with the city be approved, although said approval may be withdrawn by council at any time. And item number 2, that council approve the terms and conditions contained in the memorandum of settlement dated October 29th, 2020 to establish the 2020-2021 collective agreement with IBEW Local 636, and further that the mayor and the clerk be authorized to execute documentation arising therefrom.
Okay, so do I have someone to move item number 1 then, the LGA approval? Moved by Councillor Ioannidis. Are there any questions on that one? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And then item number 2, the collective agreement with IBEW. A mover, Councillor Singh.
I have my hand up on that.
Okay, I just wasn't sure. It never came
Yeah.
down, so I wasn't sure if it
Well,
was still up. But
it
you have a
did-
question on IBEW?
It did come down there. Yes, I would like to have a recorded vote on this, and perhaps someone should explain to the general public what we're approving.
Sure, we can get that. Looking to, there we go, Ms. Rabb. If you want to give us a quick update or a quick overview of what the collective agreement for IBEW is?
Sure. Sorry about my dog in the background. Thanks. It's quiet all night until I had to turn my camera on. So thank you, Councillor Gallery-Seelock, through you to the mayor. The terms that council is approving is for a 1.6% salary increase for a 1-year term to go from March 31st, 2020, April 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2021. And there are no benefit enhancements in the contract.
Okay. So we have a mover for that. Do we have any other questions?
And I'd ask for the recorded vote, please.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that. All right. So it's been moved. We'll go to the recorded vote. We'll start with Councillor Davey.
I'm in favor.
Up next is Councillor Schneider.
In favor.
Up next is Councillor Gazzola.
Opposed.
Up next is Councillor Michaud.
In favor?
Up next is Councillor Singh.
In favor?
Up next is Councillor Ioannidis.
In favor.
Next is Councillor Johnston.
In favor.
Next is Councillor Chapman.
In favor?
Up next is Councillor Marsh.
In favor.
Up next is the mayor,
In favor?
and myself is in favor, so that is carried. So that's dealing with the final items. Is there a mover to move the Rising report? Moved by Councillor Davey. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Turn it back to the mayor.
Thank you. It's been moved by Councillor Galloway Seelock, seconded by Councillor Marsh, that the proceedings in the recorded pecuniary interest and conflicts meeting of the Committee of the Whole held this date as a 2 and forming part of these minutes B and the same are hereby adopted and confirmed. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Third reading of the bylaws has been moved by Councillor Michaud and seconded by Councillor Gazzola that the bylaws listed on the agenda for third reading be taken as read a third time, be finally passed and serially numbered by the clerk. All those in favor? Hold on, I can't see you guys. There we go. Can you do that again? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And motion to adjourn by Councillor Galloway Seelock. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you, everyone. Stay healthy, stay safe, and continue to look after yourselves and each other. Have a great night.